Dark skin. I like the way Richard Schmid says it. Imagine what it would be like if we were all the same color. What a bore. Besides that, what would all the bigots do? So thank heaven that Mother Nature has created all these colors of skin, and of course each color of skin creates different challenges. This is a painting by Sargent, and it's called An Egyptian Girl. She has dark skin, but notice how much red he uses. And in this particular painting, his shadows and shaded areas, he's using a lot of blue or blue-violet. Sargent actually used ivory black, which has a bluish tint. Now in many of Sargent's paintings, he'll use green and red, which are complements, but this one tends to be a little on the cooler side. Here's another dark-skinned subject by Velasquez. And you'll notice here that he's using complementary colors to make this painting effective. He's using green and red. The subject's face is mostly red, but the background and the cooler colors on his face are green. Notice when he transitions from light to shadow, he transitions from red to green. Red is warm and green is cooler relative to red. And of course, red and green are complements. That's what makes this transition so effective. And so red and green will be the two colors that we work with primarily today. We'll take a look at our palette. It's going to be a relatively simple palette today. The brush that I'll be using today will be a silver Grand Prix Bright, and the size is number 8. The colors I'll be using today, my dark accent, and then I'll be using my light gray. This color is what I call sage, and then this color is transparent oxide red. This will be our red color that we use. Now to get these colors, go to my video called My Current Palette, and it'll show you how to mix these colors. Transparent oxide red is a color that Rembrandt makes, and this is a color that Richard Schmid has made popular. This is the image we'll be working with today. I chose this image because it's a dark-skinned subject. This is actually an African American, but the skin color is more like this Egyptian girl that we saw on Sargent's painting. So I'll start with a bit of my transparent oxide red. I'll start out with some very light strokes, start roughing in my drawing. At this point, I just want to get an approximation of where the lines are, so I draw with fairly light strokes. Notice how I hold my brush at various angles. I don't just draw with my brush at one particular angle. There's two parts of the brush, the toe and the heel. Just like a foot, the toe is where the brushes are, and the heel is the part of the brush that's in my hand. Notice how I'll move the heel of the brush at various angles. Sometimes the heel will be up high, sometimes the heel will be down low, sometimes to the left, and then sometimes to the right. So I move my heel around quite a bit, depending on what angle the line is that I'm trying to capture. So I'm touching the canvas very lightly with fairly wet paint and the local color, which is kind of a reddish skin color. lighter colors on top of it because it's easier to make a dark color light. Now I'll get some of this green. This is a good time to talk about this transition between red and green on skin. Here we can see this Sargent painting. Even though this isn't a dark-skinned man, it does show this transition of red to green. Here he is again. Let's look under his chin here. See the green color transitions from red to green into that shaded area. Now I'll use my light gray, which is a cooler color, on the right side of her shoulder here. There's a cool light coming in maybe from a north window. An incandescent light is warm and a fluorescent light is cool. So they probably have a fluorescent light on the right side of her shoulder as a light source.